Hiya. I suppose it's another sort of rant advice video. The last one I think went down really well. Got a lot of comments and a lot of likes on that one. So yeah, this one had a few thoughts which are what to do next. I've been trying to think, and this is should you go the extra mile for a customer? From experience, I would say no. It's okay, I suppose, just a little bit, but not much, especially if it starts going into your own time, what you're not getting paid for. And I have done that many a times and been let down in the end. A few examples. One job I did, I think I mentioned it. Did I mention it in the last video? I mentioned it some point anyway. I'm sure. I used to do gardening for someone, and then they got their builder's friend to do the mowing when they'd already sort of promised and accepted our price for us to do the mowing. So I quit that. But that bloke there, we worked there 7 years, so the 5 years was for someone different. And the last 2 years, this is the person I'm talking about, the last one that employed us there. I know he's very well off, had a very good business. You know, I helped him out. He had a chainsaw. Builders used a chainsaw and that. Totally wore the chain out. So it was almost discoloured, the metal on the chainsaw chain was. So I said, do you want me to get you a chain? Got him a chain. Only charged him cost. Got it off of eBay for him. I think I got him 2 chains actually. I fitted it for him, so his chainsaw was all working okay again. The builders, they didn't care. There's one of them supposed to be his good friend, so they don't care. They just wrecked the chain and just chucked it in the shed and left it. Wheelbarrow wheels as well, they were always going down. Builders were using them and they were going down, so I got them a couple of the solid ones, fitted them. I only got the sort of price for the item. It was all ordered in my own time, and I had to pack them and, you know, get them home, get them delivered, packed them in the van and everything. It's all this, it might not sound much, but it's all just a little bit of extra time what you're not getting paid for. And then in the end, the result was they weren't loyal to me. So yeah, that's one example. Another one a lot further back, one of my sort of first gardening customers, I went to hers for 7 years. I think Laura helped me early days there. I think for sort of the first 3 years Laura helped me. Then we had our daughter, so Laura stopped. But I think actually about on the day our daughter was born, this woman's husband, he died. He worked in America a lot, so I never really saw him much, but she was home. And after that, I helped him out. I did things like it weren't just gardening, it was I'd go over on a Saturday to start their ride on mower if it didn't start. What else did I do? I went over and sorted out their Christmas tree because there was only her and the 2 daughters left. And, you know, put it in this Christmas tree stand and everything. Yeah, lots of little bits which I never really got. I never sort of got paid for. It's just all favours. Yeah, and then what happened in the end? Laura come back, and then yeah, what happened is we restructured the time slightly, and then Laura come back. So she was paying the same, but obviously me and Laura were doing a bit less on time because it was 2 people rather than 1. So I've got to undo that window. It's hot in here. The radio's on, so I didn't want it to blur out too much. Yeah, so yeah, where'd I get to? Yeah, and then the tea break stopped because we were doing less time. We never got tea break then. All the time I was on my own, got tea break. And we were still there 2.5, 3 hours, so, you know, that stopped. So, you know, just went on and that. Then in the end, they got this bloke round to do the stone wall. And he was doing that. And then he offered to do some painting, which I'd actually been asked to do. Painting on the house, the windows and all that. And I actually had made a bit of a start, I think. Well, I had made a bit of a start. And then they had the cheek. She said, "Oh, this I remember his name because his name was the same name as the beard, John Smith." She said, "Oh, John's going to paint the windows in the house." Because you could tell this bloke, he was supposed to be a stonemason, you thought it'd been a lot of work for him, but he was trying to push in more and more. And they had the cheek to ask to borrow my ladder, which was on the van, for him to do the job. I said, no, I need that. Then that annoyed me. So I never turned up. I didn't tell them anything, I just never turned up after then. I never ever got a call or anything. And, I nearly, it was like friends really, I bumped into a woman once since. It's actually we got our first dog off of her, and she charges for him as well. I had to work off the money, but yeah. So yeah, I went the extra mile for her, and it's just I wouldn't nowadays. If someone asked me to do that extra thing, they'll just be charged for it. But it's very easy to get stuck in that and think, especially when you're a newbie to this business, you can, people say, "Oh, just before you go, can you just do that bit over there?" And I've had that loads. I had one woman, and she was really irritating. I'll tell you quickly about her. We went to do her grass, and we did her grass, me and Laura, for a fair sized grass. I remember we charged £25 to do it. So we cut it, trimmed all the edges and everything, had it looking pretty nice. And then she said, "Oh, can you just do the back bank?" This is where I made the mistake. I said, "Okay, then I'll do the back bank." Next time we went there, "Can you do the bit the other side of the fence beyond the back bank? There was a back fence and then there's a bit to the field. Can I do the bit outside?" So, like a fool, yep. I did that. Still bear in mind, it was still the £25. And then, every so often, can you trim behind the shed as well? So then there was that. And we did it. We just carried on doing it. And like I said, like a fool. In the end, though, there was a gardening woman in the same village, and you could tell she was itching to try this woman out. This gardening woman. So, and I noticed that this gardening woman had been there. No, what happened? I think actually. No, yeah, I remember what happened now, sorry for that. Then one day she really did it, went there, and she said about, gardening, and she was always on about her son in Australia's done so well since he moved over there, and he had a cleaning company or whatever. She said, and when he was here, he was worse than you, as if our job is the lowest of the lows, and, we're just rubbish, basically. So that was it. I didn't go no more. Told her we were too busy, couldn't go there anymore. Then I went past, because I do another one down in the same area, and I noticed she had this woman gardener's van there. So I thought, yep, that's actually that sort of solved my problem. I've got rid of her, and she's got a gardener, so she isn't going to hassle me. And fair dues to the gardening woman. She actually walked up to me when I was working along the road and said, she apologised for taking the job, and she said she didn't want to be stealing it sort of off of me. I said, no, there was no problem, we'd finished there. So, you're welcome. You're welcome to the job. So, yeah, that was all good between us. And actually, I got a couple of jobs when she left as well from her. I do a couple of jobs now. Just looking where the dog's gone. It's gone in their hedge. Just wait a sec. Nerf! Nerf! He's out, he's in the hedge, I don't know what he's doing in there. So, yeah, but then about a week or so later, after I'd seen her van down there, this woman had the cheek to phone us. I think she was more expensive. I just said, no, sorry, got no time now, enough's enough. And there's loads of these people who just say, oh, just before you go, can you just do that little bit? They'll say, yeah, I can do that little bit, but that costs you a £5 or it costs you a £10, depending on what it is or whatever. Don't go that extra mile. And another thing as well, just before I leave this video, because I'm not going to do it much more than 10 minutes, it will be a bit over. We did work for an estate near us. Well, a sort of a landlord near us, owns a lot of houses, and they I used to give them quite a good price because we did quite a lot of work for them. So yeah, it all worked well. A lot of the jobs I landed up not gaining. It wasn't much hourly rate on some. I reckon one job we did, which was the worst, probably didn't get £5 an hour each on that one. So you know, my price structure was a bit wrong on them jobs, but that's what, you know, I quoted. It was my fault. But we used to make it was fencing mainly. We we really went the extra mile to actually make these fences look really good. You know, finish them off just right, and you know, a lot of pickets and that we did, and some feather edge, and that always made it. You know, I really wanted to get this spot on, and I did. There wasn't really one I was unhappy with, but then there was a little bit of a problem because I didn't. They asked me to do a job. It was a different type of job. It was clearing a big area and then grassing it and planting some plants and that. Well, time went on. It was very wet winter. It was, and yeah, time went on, and then it started to dry out and I started to get busy. Then all of a sudden, the under manager gave me a call and said, "Oh, can you get down there today to start on it?" I said, "No, not really." But I did go down there, and it was rock hard. It was trying to rake over like concrete. It was no good. And also in between times, someone else had come and planted some bigger trees. That had all been planted wrong. Everything went out of sync with how it was meant to be. So I was really stressed out at the time, and I explained that it was a bit much. It was a bit much for us at the time, which was a bit my fault because my planning wrong. But I do blame it a bit on the under manager because he should have kept us more informed what was going on. He even said when he was down there, "Oh, I haven't been down here for months either." So it wasn't like a priority for him until his boss thought it was. So and then since then we haven't done anything for us. They even had a bit of a go at us about it. So yeah, I did sort of go the extra mile there as well. And a lot of the jobs, like I said, they got done cheap, but there was no loyalty to us. It's the same with a lot of other workers for them as well. They've had the same problem. Yeah, so we're about there really. Yeah, so the whole thing is, if I was you and you're starting out, and I suppose some of the more experienced gardeners still do it, go the extra mile to help people. Is it really worth it? It could be. Someone could really look after you and, you know, be really loyal to you, but in general, people won't be that loyal to you. The ones I've got now, I won't take it for granted now, because the one we're at now, possibly next week, she could put the house up for sale, and you know, if she moves in a smaller place and doesn't want us, it's if she's going to care. You know, so just look after yourself. Yeah, most important thing, look after yourself and don't get taken for a ride, because I think in this business it's quite easy to get taken for a ride. And make sure, I know sometimes as bad as you might want a job, just make sure you get paid a decent amount of money on your quotes, because there's nothing worse than sort of say working a job that you might think is going to take 2 days, and that's you quote the 2 days money, and then it takes you a third day. So you're going to that on that third day, and you're working all day and think to yourself, I'm working for nothing today. So yeah, just sort of think things. I used to rush things quick and get everything done all quick, and then think, oh, that seems a lot of money, you know, for a fence, for example. It might be £1,000, seems a lot of money, but 500 or 600 of that or whatever is the materials, and it looks a lot. And I've always sort of had that way, as if I'm thinking about their financial position, when it's not really. They want a job done, so they'll have to pay. So now I just try to price that a little bit higher. I've got my regulars that sort me out for most of the stuff, so the one-off stuff is priced a bit higher nowadays to cover me. But it's probably about where it should be, because I always used to price low. So anyway, this video has gone on nearly 15 minutes now, so I'll leave it there. Don't get taken for granted. And if I was you, unless it's exceptional, you know, someone's been loyal to you for many years, I wouldn't go the extra mile. Just do what you have to do, you know, and get going and have your own time to yourself, or charge them if you do the extras. All right then, thanks for watching. I'll be along with another video again soon.